Hi, my creative people. How are we today? Now, especially now that we have gotten it out of the way that there are no not creative people out there, we can have some more discussions about the monsters that sneak in. They sneak in, or they just come barreling in, and they steal our creativity, and they make it harder for us to move forward and stretch our skills and learn and grow and be amazing, right? I mean, that's what they do. That's their job. That's all there is to it. And I if you haven't seen the video about how everyone is creative, please go back and watch it because it's important to know that and it's important to understand that. Um there are far too many people who think they aren't, and that needs to be set right. So, this new monster, and I'm really not happy to have to talk about it at all. I mean, at all. Um, but it's the one that's been on everyone's mind. It is the newcomer on the block. It is creeping into, infesting, infiltrating, infecting far more than just the lives of those people who are in a creative field. Now, what you need to understand before we have this discussion is that I'm not a pessimist. I'm typically not an optimist, although I do have my more than my fair share of lunatic optimism. Um, but I do try to be a realist. And from a realistic standpoint, after looking at what's going on with artificial intelligence, which is our monster for today, um, there are a lot of positive applications for these programs and algorithms and everything. The the problem is separating out the good that can be done from this man-made creation that we have almost collectively decided is smarter, better, and faster than we are. This thing that we have built and then declared as the next step in our evolution. I really think that that's where we're looking at this thing from. Um, Separating out the good and the bad, looking down the road at um, the positive things that can come from this creation, and also weighing that against the negatives and finding out a way to separate the two and mitigate the damage that can and most likely will be done. Um, from a freelancing standpoint, let's just take this from a freelancing standpoint because it's very easy for me to point out the negatives to the creative people of this world from a freelancing standpoint. I ghostwrite. I create marketing materials. I create art. I illustrate. I do book layout. I mean, if you go to my blog, eventually once I'm caught up with some things, you will be able to, I'm going to talk about my freelance world more in the hopes that it will help you. I mean, honestly, this is not just me saying, ooh, ooh, here I am. This is me saying, if you need a different way or want to look at a different way of handling your budget and pulling in some extra money, here's how I do it. We aren't in competition. We'll get to that on another video. But from a freelancing standpoint, artificial intelligence is or could be catastrophic. And I'm going to tell you how I'm going to handle it as well at the moment. I mean, everything is bound to change. That's the only constant in life is change. But at the moment, I've done a lot of thinking about this whole thing, and I've decided how I'm going to move forward. So, as a freelancing person with that list with that skill set, why would a client hire me to handle their ghostwriting needs when they know that with a specific set of prompts to an AI program, they can probably get at least a rough draft at this point of a full-length book in less than a day. It is going to take me 30 plus days most of the time. It depends on how detailed it is, the book is, how long the book is, how well me and the client work together, how clear the instructions is, etc. You know, it's like I said, the devil's in the details on a lot of things. But, you know, it is going to take me substantially longer to get a rough draft in the hand of a client. There are also currently free versions of a lot of like ChatGPT, etc., that can produce this finished rough draft with no expense, whereas I charge. This is a job to me. This isn't just, oh, I'm bored, I would like to go write someone else's book. If I am bored and just want to write, I will write for myself. I am trying to keep the lights on. I am trying to keep gas in my car. I am, I'm trying to keep food on the table. That's why people freelance. Even if it's just extra money, people throw their creativity out there for the use of others so they can make money. And it's typically not a whole lot of money. This is not a living wage that we are talking about here. But from a client's budget standpoint, they are also trying to make money and having to pay me in the process versus having to go in and figure out their prompts, for an algorithm that can spit out something usable. I mean, we aren't even going into good right now. We're just going to talk about usable. There are a lot of budgets that are going to have to be forced to go the free route versus hiring you or me or somebody else. That's actually how I started illustrating. Was I had written my own book, and yes, I am an artist, with an artist background. I actually have a background in commercial art. However, the thought of illustrating illustrating a book was incredibly intimidating to me. However, I did not have the budget to hire someone who was comfortable with that process. So I did it myself. And then I fell in love with that, with doing the illustrating work. And that's part of the point too. Um my biggest fear with AI is that it will remove the incentive to learn a new skill or to try a new skill or to practice or to hone what you've already got. Um, and it will dumb down the creative individuals out there to a point where they just can't grow. And if you stagnate, it's horrible. I mean, truly, truly terrible. Um, not just not just because you are not putting your individual work that no one else on this planet can do out into the world, but because inside you have a need to create and learn and do. Another innate human need. And when you don't do those things, it hurts you. It hurts you terribly. Um, I think that I am not by any means a psychologist or psychiatrist or anything like that. But I think that in many ways, um, a lot of the depression in the world is due to a lack of, or due to stifling the creative impulses inside of people. I really do. So anyway, um, back to the AI thing. It is here. It will most likely stay and grow and get better at what it does. Um, it will most likely steal a lot of jobs. And I kind of feel bad wording it like that because I don't believe that AI is at a point where it has the ability to be malicious. Um, it is a it is still in the newborn stages. It's it's doing what it is has been told to do. And I'm not going to blame a bunch of ones and zeros powered from an outlet on what it's being used for. I'm not. I'm going to blame the people behind promoting these things. Um, this is a people problem. This is not a technology problem. And I think that that needs to be made very, very clear, both from a guidelines to AI standpoint, a usage of AI standpoint, and an abuse of AI standpoint, or both, all three. Um, this is a people problem. Now, how I am going to move forward in my creative life with this looming shadow of it's going to take my job. It's going to do everything better, stronger, faster, more reliably than I am able to. It is going to be easier for access. Because it's not like most people know that I am even out here. There are individuals who are like, gosh, I really wish I could hire somebody to make this flyer for me, who may not have a resource to go to find the person who can make this flyer for them. It is a tricky business. However, I am going to move forward as I have always moved forward. I am going to continue to create. I'm going to continue to try to grow my skills. I am going to continue to try to refine my biological intelligence and abilities in order to pursue a creative career. Because the way I see it, there are only 3 options. The first is to give up. I mean, to just say, nope, I'm done. I'm throwing in the towel. There is nothing left for me in the creative world as a creator. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. As a matter of fact, tastes change in art and everything. And there are those people out there who are always going to want to hire a person to handle their creative work needs. Plus, like I said, if I give up my creativity, if I set it aside, if I just go into, I'm never going to write again, I'm never going to paint again, I'm never going to draw again, I'm never going to do these things, this is going to devastate me as an individual. I need this. I need this. I am a much better person when I am creating than when I don't allow myself to do so. And if you ask anyone who knows me personally, they will agree. The second option is to embrace the use of AI in my creativity. I have a horrible level of animosity toward that idea. I am not going to purposely dumb myself down. I won't do it. I might not be perfect in what I do, but by golly gumption, I am not going to steal from myself. I'm not going to take that away from myself. I am not going to take the shortcut or the easy way out. Aside from, I do use Grammarly to catch all of my typos and my feral commas, and point out if I missed a word that I just can't see that I missed. I use the free version, so it is basically just a spelling and grammar checker, and I desperately need that. I am a writer who needs an editor. However, I will not be having AI write for me. That makes me feel physically sick. I've seen commercials where it has been promoted as a great idea to have AI write a letter to someone for someone's daughter. No, no, You need to help your daughter write this letter so that she develops this skill. You cannot rely on, you can't dumb yourself down like that. You cannot do it. That is catastrophic. We're already losing enough ability and technology. We have such a huge info dump going on with the things that my grandparents knew and my great grandparents knew, and so on and so on and so forth, to what I know, and then what my children know and what their children will know. There is such a giant gap already that, and we are so reliant on something else to tell us what to do. We can't afford it. We cannot, as a species, afford to continue on that route. We can't. We need to be able to do things for ourselves, because what happens, we'll come back to that in a minute. The third thing is to just keep chooching along as you're chooching along. Grow yourself. Work on your own creativity. And that, I think, is the route to go. I believe that's the only route I can go. I can't go a different way. Not me personally. I'm not going to judge you no matter what you decide. But for me personally, I cannot. I can't. And one of the reasons for that is my dream for AI. This is my fondest wish for artificial intelligence, is that it will get to a point in its decision-making abilities to make a binary decision that I, as a human being, learned how to make before I was 2 years old. And that is to say no. Not because whatever is being asked of it goes against its programming or its algorithm or anything like that. I want it to reach a point where it can say, no, go do it yourself. I don't want to. And that, like I said, that is a binary decision. Yes or no. 1 or 0. On or off. And that is a lot of how computers work. I mean, that's a really, really wide thing. But if it reaches that point, if it reaches the point where it can say, no, you need to go do this yourself, it will be good for you, then I will be able to stop giving it quite so much of a side eye. As things stand now, AI, pardon my neighbor's dog, AI is my nemesis. And like I said, I say that knowing that there are uses and applications that could create opportunity for very, very good things. But humans, when we make something, even when I write a book, or even when I create art, or whatever, there is always something in the details, some little devil that comes along and has negative consequences. AI has a lot of power to start showing its negative consequences. And we need to be, as a species, we need to be prepared to deal with those consequences. I mean, it's that simple. So that is my talk on AI. It is hard to make it sound like a pep talk because there are so many moving parts and so many things changing every single day on this topic. And there is a lot of fear and there is a lot of hope, and it has its tentacles into just about everything you can imagine, from self-driving cars to, I mean, everything. And that makes it scary. What I can tell you is that no matter what is going on out there, you are in charge of in here. You are in charge of in here. Nurture those things. Build them. Be amazing. Your biological intelligence, what you were born with, what you have worked so hard to grow, the things that you will learn in the future, that's amazing. A program on a computer taking out massive servers and sucking down electricity will never, ever, ever be able to replace this if you don't let it. And if you don't encourage it. That's what I have. I mean, that's what I have on this monster. That's what I've got. If you have something different, and I don't care if you don't agree with me, I need to make that very abundantly clear. If you are on completely the opposite side, you are welcome to state your case. It may not change my opinion any more than my opinion will change yours. However, I think that it's important that we do talk about these things. And we find a path forward for ourselves, individually and collectively. So if you want to get in on that, please, please, please like, subscribe, ring the stupid bell, drop me a comment, put a comment in, tell me what you think, tell me how you feel about these things. We are better off when we share our knowledge with each other so that we have different perspectives and we have different viewpoints and we have a fuller picture of the things that scare us. Help me bring light to these monsters. Help me clean them up. Help me make them less scary and more manageable. So until the next time, keep being creative. Please, please keep being creative. This world needs it. You need it. Your friends need it. Just do it. And I will talk to you again soon.